say does that Star Spangled Banner yet wave?
제가 미국인이라고 하면 그게 긍지감, 그리고 자기 조국에 대한 자존감, 그리고 끝까지 지키는 책임감, 이런 걸 해서 훌륭한 것 같아요. 유튜브를 한번 두는 것 같아요. 한국인 가수가 그 경기장 가서 부르는 거 제가 한번 두던 생각이 나요.
미국인들이 되게 애국심이 강하고 자기 국가에 대한 자부심이 강한 걸로 유명해요. 근데 왜 그런 자부심과 애국심이 강할 거라고 생각이 드세요?
자기네 나라를 많이 사랑해서 그러지 않을까요? 그러니까 내가 사는 미국 땅이 제일 좋다는 그런 긍지와 자부심을 가지고 이렇게 본인의 나라를 많이 사랑하는 것 같아요.
There was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a song that I'm sure you're aware of. You've seen it. It's in most hymnals throughout our churches. It's called the National Anthem. We go, however, to a ball game. We stand in our church services and we sing the words of that song, and they float over our minds and our lips, and we don't even realize what we're singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain. Accumulated prisoners.
그 참고로 옛날에 미국이 한때 영국 땅이었는데 독립을 하게 됐었죠.
On both sides, the American colonies had prisoners and the British had prisoners. And the American government initiated a move. They went to the British and they said, let us negotiate for the release of these prisoners. They were holding the American prisoners in boats about 1,000 yards offshore. And they said, we want to send a man by the name of Francis Scott Key. He will come out and negotiate to see if we can make a mutual exchange. The admiral came and he said, we have a slight problem. He said, we will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it'll be merely academic after tonight. And Francis Scott Key said, what do you mean? He said, well, Mr. Key, he said, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon the colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of that flag that you think so much of, or you see that fort right over there, Fort Henry? He said, we're going to remove it from the face of the earth. He said, if you will, scan the horizon of the sea. And as he looked, he could see hundreds of little dots. And he said, that's the entire British war fleet. He said, the war is over. These men would be free anyway. He said, that's a large fort. He said, it's full of women and children. He says, it's predominantly not a military fort. They said, we've left them a way out. And he said, what's that? He said, do you see that flag way up on the rampart? He said, we have told them that if they will lower that flag, the shelling will stop immediately. As twilight.
글쎄, 배아는 주겠죠. 근데 내가 기억을 못하는지. 난 몰라요. 무슨 뜻인지는 몰라야지. 애국가는 북한은 오후 3시 반부터 TV 방송하거든요. 저는 10시 반까지. 그런데 그때 첫 시간에 그 애국가 먼저 나와요. 그러니까 그냥 듣기만 했지. 저 애국가구나 하지. 그게 무슨 뜻이 있는지 알려고도 안 했고.
He says the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there were no reliefs. He said it was absolutely impossible to talk or hear. He said suddenly the sky, although dark, was suddenly lit. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling. Every time the bomb would explode and it would be close to the flag, they could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb. And Francis Scott Key would report down to the men below, it's still up. The admiral came and he said, your people are insane. He said, what's the matter with them? He said, don't they understand this is an impossible situation? Francis Scott Key said he remembered what George Washington had said. He said the thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in the world is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees. Our reconnaissance tells us that that flag has been hit directly again and again and again, and yet it's still flying. We don't understand that. But he said, now we're about to bring every gun for the next 3 hours to bear on that point. Francis Scott Key said the barrage was unmerciful. All that he could hear was the men down below praying, God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it. Sunrise came. He said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough. There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds. The flagpole itself was at a crazy angle, but the flag was still at the top. Francis Scott Key went aboard and immediately went into Fort Henry to see what had happened. But men, fathers, who knew what it meant for that flag to be on the ground, although knowing that all of the British guns were trained on it, walked over and held it up humanly until they died. Their bodies were removed and others took their place. Francis Scott Key said what held that flagpole in place at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies. He penned the song.
북한에서도 그런 이야기들을 많이 알려줘요.
예, 그러니까 조그만 전쟁 시기에 뭐 우리 인민군 전사들이 이렇게 싸웠다 하는 그런 선전을 많이 하거든요. 기본 그게 교육 중에서도 그게 기본이죠. 그 옛날에 공화국이 어떻게 생겼냐 하는 그 이미지가 벌써 항해림의 전쟁 시기, 그다음에 조그만 전쟁 시기 이거를 지금.
그러면 선생님이 만약에 미국인이었다면 이 이야기를 들었을 때 어떤 생각 드실 것 같으세요?
제가 미국인이라고 하면 그게 진짜 뭐랄까 긍지감, 그리고 자기 조국에 대한 자존감, 그리고 끝까지 지키는 책임감, 이런 걸 해서 훌륭한 것 같아요.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Or the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. Oh, say, does that Star Spangled Banner yet fly and wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? The debt was demanded. The price, it was paid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that Star Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that Star Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
그치, 이거는 이제 그 변호사라는 사람이 이렇게 그 전장터에서 그걸 보고, 그 다음에 거기서 연금을 받아서 이렇게 썼다 하는데, 그니까 이게 제 생각에는 그 변호사가 자기가 보고 느낀 점을 애국가를 지정하고 싶어서 쓴 건 아니잖아요, 당시에는. 그니까 그 사람 자기가 보고 느낀 점을 글로 남긴 게 애국가 되지 않았을까 싶은데거든. 자기 나라를 많이 사랑하고, 그러기 때문에 북한 사람들은 눈물 흘리는 사람 없는데, 체육 선수들 내놓고 이게 1등 했을 때 좋아서 눈물 흘리는지 애국가 듣고 눈물 흘리는지 는 모르겠는데, 아무래도 1등 했다고 좋아서 눈물 흘리겠죠. 애국가 이렇게 눈물까지 흘리면서 애국가를 시청한다는 거는 이게 뭐라네, 그러니까 미국이란 나라를 많이 사랑하기 때문에 그런 것 같아요. 근데 북한에 있을 때는 매일 들어오면 북한은 또 방송인데 야외 방송 많아요. 야외 방송도 그래, TV에서도 그래. 꽤나 애국가 나오니까, 그건 학교에서 배에 앉아도 그건 자동적으로 귀에 들어와요. 음감이. 그래서, 저건 당연한 노래인 줄 알았어요. 나라마다 국화가 있는 것처럼 노래도 그 나라의 노래가 있어야 되는가 보다. 그렇게 생각했어요, 우리는. 솔직한 말로 북한 분들은 아마 제 생각인데, 나라에서 백성들 보고 나라를 사랑하라 그래. 그러니까 백성들이 사랑하는 마음이 적은 게 지금, 그러니까 애국가 들어도 눈물 안 나올 수가 없고, 그다음에 미국인 분들 같은 거는 나라에서 그 강요를 안 하잖아요. 스스로가 우려나서 미국이란 자기네 나라를 사랑하니까 그것도 너무 사랑하고, 그리고 이렇게 성조기를 지킬 만큼 그렇게 용감하게 싸운 그 사람들이 없었으면 미국이란 땅이 없다는 그 관점을 많이 갖고 이렇게 나라를 진짜 많이 사랑하는 것 같아요. 그래서 이렇게 눈물도 흘리고 그러는 것 같아요.